today. It's called the blueprint. The blueprint of what? I'm not going to tell you. Go back and look at the flyer. This young man hails from San Diego, California. He does a lot of great training. The second Saturday of every month this year, he's going to be doing a leadership training. And I am so excited about that. So without further ado, from the San Diego area, great father, great entrepreneur. He'll probably tell a few minutes of his story, but let's give a warm welcome to none other than Regional Director, the great Mr. Julian Lewis.
Hey everyone, good morning again. It's me again. I'm back. I'm excited. If you didn't get the memo, Al Thomas and I decided to wear green today. I know St. Patrick's Day is this month as well, but it also means money. It also means green light. There's so many good things that has to do with it. So you might want to start rocking green. But Mr. Thomas, thank you for getting us kicked off. And for everyone, for those of you that don't know Mr. Thomas, if this is your first time, if someone said, I want to introduce you to my mentor, if I want to introduce you to someone who's been a mentor to many in this company as well in this industry, understand that Mr. Thomas does what he does. He has the energy and the drive to do what he does, not because of the money. He'll cash the check. They pay him well, but he does it because of where his heart is. His heart is in seeing more people have success, to be able to have the freedoms that he's been able to afford himself and his family, to be able to do things with their money that make a difference in people's lives. And in mentoring people, he is setting a foundation to elevate the new people, the new wave of leaders, to be able to be a service to many like he has in so many other people's lives. So don't take him for granted. If he calls, texts, the trainings that he gives, take notes and take advantage of the information that he's sharing out of the kindness of his heart. So thank you again for everything that you do, Mr. Thomas. And to give you guys a background about me, just so we're not complete strangers, prior to getting involved with ACN, I was a senior systems engineer. I was working 80 to 90 hours a week at my job. I was averaging 50 to 60 flights a year, which put me in a situation where I really didn't have a lot of time for myself or my family. That became a huge problem because I wanted to make a difference in my family's life. And I wanted to be there for my daughter. When my fiance and I found out we were going to have a baby girl, I didn't see myself as a type of parent that was only there financially and not physically. And instead of giving up and saying, well, that's just how it is, or that's just the way it is for everyone, I said, that can't be the way it is for me, because that little girl is important to me. And so I was open-minded to taking a look at other ways of earning income so that I could have more time with my family. Good fortune came my way. I was introduced to this company by my first mentor in this industry who shared with me the ACN system. Thank goodness they had a system that was designed for busy people, because it allowed someone like me who had work ethic to be able to leverage my time through networking with others. And in 6 months, it enabled me enough being built in this company to make a decision to walk away from my job, come home to my family, and become the type of father that I felt my daughter deserved. And I'm going to tell you guys, if it wasn't for the system, if it wasn't for the way ACN ran, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And what I mean by the way ACN ran is they always made it a point that if you build the individual, you build the company. And that has become a motto of mine. Mindset being everything at the core of what we're going to be talking about this morning. And so what I want to do is I'm going to bring up some slides first. So we're going to talk about what Mr. Thomas said in the beginning, the blueprint. And the blueprint is the name of my organization. The reason why we named it the blueprint is because it wasn't about me. It wasn't about a special leader. All the leaders that are being developed within our organization come from a foundation of following a step-by-step process that anyone can do. And so our goal is to usher in or give you the blueprint so that you can have the success that you want in your family. It's not about me. It's not about the individual. It's about the team. It's about the ability to change lives and affect change in as many people as we can so that people have the freedom to do what they want with their life. And the blueprint is extremely important to us. What's really important is mindset and how you do it, because I can give you the blueprint, but if you don't have the right mindset, it doesn't matter. And that's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to point out a few things. These slides may look familiar. And I want to address something that Mr. Thomas said. Every second Saturday is not a leadership training. Every second Saturday, we break down the fundamentals that every new person and anyone that wants to have success in ACN, you want to adopt to get results. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday, you want to get everyone on. It's not a leadership. It's a training that's going to give you exactly what you need to have results. And this part is actually part of the training. We're going to talk about mindset. The most important thing to determine is the reason why. And some of you that have been in ACN for a while, you might say, yeah, I get it. I know about the reason why. My question back to you is, do you really? Because there is no such thing as willpower. Willpower doesn't exist, but why power does. When something is big enough where you really embrace how important it is, it sparks something called desire. There's no one's going to be able to get to where they need to go without the desire, without thinking how bad they want to get there. And that reason why is everything. It's not something that you just think about once. My reason why is something I had to internalize, because I knew that I was going to embark on something I didn't want to do. And what do I mean by that? So I was working 80 to 90 hours a week at my job. To add ACN on top of that immediately is something I didn't want to do because I was already exhausted. But what pushed me to get out of my comfort zone to do it was knowing that if I did not do it, that my daughter was going to grow up not knowing her father. And that's something that I kept in my mind. That's something I thought of on a day-to-day basis. So my reason why wasn't something pretty or something that sounded good that I just spoke about. It's something that I internalized. And what I mean is when I felt tired, exhausted at the end of the day, and I felt I deserved to rest, I would say, you're stealing from your daughter right now, and she can't even protest. Get up. These are the things that I said to push myself forward, to create something, which is called discipline. I want you to write that down. Write down discipline. This is going to be important at the end of this. So whether it's time with family to pay off some bills, help with college education for children, help your parents, no matter what it is, you got to determine the reason why. And it's got to be the thing that governs your life to create the routines or the rules necessary to win. And then you want to think like a business owner. And this is important, guys. Business owners make decisions. Business owners understand that there's a learning curve. Not everything's going to come extremely fast. Business owners understand that there's a little bit of emotional roller coaster. Business owners understand that you want to develop the right mental attitude in order to win. They understand that not everyone's going to do this, and it's okay. They know they'll have long-term thinking, and they know the only way that they can fail is to quit. So they never quit. And then the process. So let's talk about the process for a second. The process is simple. We build the list. The list is the process because the list is your lead source. They're going to either lead you to leaders or other people that will lead you to leaders. And the reason why we deal with warm market is because there's a relationship already built into the warm market. So it doesn't mean that people in your warm market are going to all sign up. But what it does mean is you have the likelihood that they're going to sign up or lead you to someone that signs up is 10 times higher in your warm market than with cold market. So we're not saying don't do cold market, but what we're saying is it makes sense to do warm market, especially in the beginning, so that way you can start to build a foundation and get results and earn income, which is going to push you forward faster. Don't prejudge. You want to contact everyone and you want to sort. And here's the thing. Most people get confused or nervous when it talks about contacting everyone. because they're thinking, oh no, I don't want to sell everyone. I don't want to. Our goal isn't to sell. Our goal is to share it with everyone so we can identify the people that are looking for us. And that's why we sort. We sort by asking for an opinion. And I want you to think about how simple it is, because people love to give their opinion. I want you to really think about it. Mr. Payon, how many people you know, if you say, hey, I need your opinion on something, they get excited. Akiko, you know what I'm talking about. You ask someone, hey, you know what? I really value your opinion. People get excited. It's almost like they put their hands on their hips and start to stick their chest out because they're proud that you asked for their expertise. Maria Estrada, you know what I'm talking about. So even our parents, right? Can we agree, Maria, that our parents will give us their opinion even when we don't ask for it? Isn't this true? So people love to give their opinion. Older siblings love to give their opinion. So when you ask someone for their opinion, you empower them. You're sharing with them that they're special. And when we do that opinion approach, it works even if you haven't spoken to the person in years. Some people say this, and I want you to do me a favor. You can use the Zoom feature, or you can just raise your hand if you have your camera on. How many of us have gotten nervous or afraid of how we're going to approach someone that we haven't talked to in years? By show of hands, whoever, Magali, I see you guys, I see you, T. So we get nervous. Why do we get nervous? Because we're afraid. What are we afraid of? We're afraid that they're going to think that the only reason we're calling them is because we want something. Isn't that true? Well, let's unpack that. What is it that you want? Do you want to serve them? Do you want to offer them a blessing that was offered to you? If that's the case, what's wrong with that being the only reason why you're connecting with them? I need you to think about that for a second. See, it would be wrong if the only reason you're connecting with them is because you're going to gain something and they're going to lose something. That would be wrong. But the reason why we're connecting with them is to bless them, right? So if our reason for connecting with them is to bless them, then you got to eliminate feeling bad about reaching out to people. And an easy way to be okay with it is this. Let's say I haven't talked to Fetty Sherman in 10 years. The first thing I'm going to do is say, this is how I operate. And T probably going to laugh because she knows this. This is how I've been the whole time. So I will, if I'm messaging him, I'm going to put his name in capital letters. And I'm going to put like 3 exclamation marks and I'm going to send it. And then the next sentence is going to be 3 letters. My team knows this. It's going to be OMG, exclamation mark, send. Fetty's going to see that and Fetty's going to say, he's already going to be excited. He doesn't even know why he's excited. But he knows he hasn't heard from me in 10 years. And now he sees his name and he sees OMG. He's going to think, what's up? I'm going directly for it. What most people are afraid of, I'm coming in for. I say, Fetty, I haven't talked to you in 10 years, bro. I'm reaching out to you because I saw something that made me think of you. Is this true, guys? I saw something that made me think of you. So much so, I need your opinion on it. Do you mind carving out a little time so that you can give me your opinion on something I'm excited about? So instead of running for it, run towards it. Stop being so weird. See, people don't feel funny because of you contacting them after 10 years. They feel funny because you contact them after 10 years and you're being weird about it. You're being weird about it because you think it's easier. Well, let me do a little small talk first. Hey, Fetty, how are you? It's been 10 years. How are the kids? Wow. They went from being Oh, you didn't have kids before. Now you have 3. Oh my gosh. You know, the real reason why I'm talking to you, now you sound like a sleazeball. Small talk makes you sound sleazy. Get straight to the point. Why is, and I need your opinion on it. Why is it? Because my goal isn't to do what? To sell Fetty on getting started in my business. That's a mistake. I don't even need to explain. Fetty says, well, what is it? Well, it's a new project that really excited me. Anytime someone asks me what it deals with, I always answer the same way. It deals with the deregulation of utilities. Do you know what that is? You know what they say? No, I do not. That's why I need your opinion. Done. You don't have to go into anything else because no one understands what that is anyway. All right. And the whole point of getting everyone's opinion is to get as many sets of eyes on it. You want to get as many sets of eyes on this business. That's the purpose. It's not to sign someone up. It's to get as many people to see it because we know that intelligent people that see it, some will, some won't, so what? That's the purpose. And we don't sell. And what that means is we ask people what category they fall in. So we set up the expectation. At the beginning of the presentation, here's what we say. You're gonna get enough information. At the end of our conversation, you'll have enough information to determine whether you see a value in partnering with us as a business partner, or you see an opportunity to save money on some bills that you're already paying for monthly in your home or your business. We're giving them their expectation up front so they know what we're going to say at the end. So it's not going to be a surprise. A lot of times people don't want to tell you what they feel because they feel surprised. We're setting up the expectation. So either you're number 3. I tell them my mom was a number 3. She loved the idea of supporting her son as a customer and saving some money and feeding children in the process. And if you're 3, we want to thank you for your support. If you're number 2, then you're like me. I love what I saw, but I was interested and I had a few questions. We're going to get your questions answered so that you can make the best decision for you. And if you're number 1, you're like Marie Belina. She saw a 10-minute video on lunch break because she was very busy, but she trusted her friend because she had known him for over 10 years. And she realized that if he could do it, she could do it. So she started right away. Whether you're a 1, 2, or 3, it's completely up to you. Our goal is just to help you based on the category you're leaning most towards. Are you guys getting that? So people feel like, oh, that's great. They're not like, oh, this guy's trying to get me. A lot of people, when they do ACN, make people feel like they're trying to get them. And if you make people feel that way, if someone was trying to get you, right? If you were in a movie and the guy is trying to get you, what is your first response? To run. If someone's trying to get you, you're going to run away. And that's why people are running away. They're running away from something that could be a great opportunity, but they're running because they feel like they're trying to get you. No one wants to get got. Does that make sense? All right. So with that being said, understand this. Professionals sort, amateurs sell and convince. Sorting is fun. Convincing is draining. You want to be a professional, listen, sort, and move on. And remember, it's all about timing. It's not about talent. It's all about timing. People will join when the timing is right. And here's what I want to help some of the older IBOs, and I don't mean age. I mean, if you've been in for a while, sometimes IBOs that have been in for a while, they start to do what we call in the coaching world trauma bonding. And you start to get negative and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. You assume. It's like if you had two bad relationships, and imagine assuming the next relationship's going to be bad just because the other two were. And then you wind up making the new person pay for the mistakes of the old people, right? That's like being at a cash register and imagine the person in front of you shorts the cashier. And the cashier doesn't realize until the person is already out of the door. And then they turn to you, the next person in line, and say, hey, buddy, I'm sorry, they're not here, so you're gonna have to pay for it. That's what a lot of IBOs do with new prospects. Because a few people were negative, you're a little bitter, and you come into the next prospect negative, assuming that they're gonna do the negative thing that the person before you did. Do me a favor, guys. Stop that. It's weird. Reset. Don't believe the new person's going to be negative because the person before did. Go into it a clean slate and judge the person based on them right now, not the person before. Some will, some won't. And the biggest part of it is so what? The so what resets you so you can be fresh for the next person. All right? And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is you want to have self-control. The ability to control oneself, in particular, one's emotions and desires, or the expression of them in one's behavior, especially in difficult situations. The real you doesn't come out in great situations. The real you comes out in tested situations. And so you got to have self-control and understand that this is just a process. And some people are wired to be open for opportunities. Some people are wired to be closed to opportunities because of their experiences in the past. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with everyone else. Stop thinking it's you. You're not that special. And what I mean by that is they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting an opportunity based on the experiences that they've had in their life. And there's nothing about you that's just going to change that. So you want to have self-control, especially in difficult situations. And how do you gain self-control? Self-control starts with self-discipline. The ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses. The ability to pursue what one thinks is right despite the temptations to abandon it. That sounds a lot like commitment, right? Commitment is doing the thing that you said you were going to do long after the feeling you had when you said it has left you. And that's what we're really talking about. The reason why I went through all those training slides is because I needed to ask all of you a question. How many of you agree, based on what I explained to you on mindset, be honest? How many of you agree that what I just broke down to you in the training is very simple and logical? By a show of hands. Everyone's like, oh, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that does sound sleazy if I do small talk. Wow. Oh, that makes sense. Why am I scared? Wow. How many of you guys had those type of moments, right? It's very simple. Well, if it's so simple, why doesn't everyone do it? It's because people lack self-discipline. It really is that. It's the lack of self-discipline. So I don't want to just leave you there. I'm going to give you some ways that you can equip yourself so that you can implement self-discipline. Is that okay, guys? All right. So here's how we can do it. The rules you want to, the first thing you want to do is you want to have a goal that ACN will fulfill. So that goal could be what? That goal could be being home with me, like me, being home with my daughter. That was my goal. It could be something completely different, but you want to internalize that goal. It has to be extremely important to you. Like if I didn't get this goal done, I felt that I was going to be letting down my family. I was going to be letting down my new baby girl. I was going to be letting down myself, because one of my biggest goals was to be the best father that I could ever become. And part of being the best father that I could become was actually having time for my daughter, right? So these are things that I thought about daily. So your reason why has to be attached to something bigger. It's not SVP, it's what SVP will grant you It has to be big. So you want to create something big. And then once you have your reason, now we got to get some ground rules in place. You need rules. And the reason why you need rules is because if you don't apply rules, you're going to just float through the day. You're going to be a wandering generality. So rules in place. Know what you're trying to achieve. And the rules of place for me are things that I do and things that I don't do, right? It's like a moral compass, things that I do and things that I don't do. So rules in place, from rules, you can create routines, and routines lead to habits, and the habits are what you set up every day for success. So you want to set a rule for me, like setting a rule, getting out of bed in 5 seconds or less. I had to do that because I'm normal. I would spend the morning, maybe 30 minutes scrolling. And you can be honest, you don't have to raise your hand, but how many of you have ever scrolled and realized, oh my gosh, how did 30 minutes go by, right? So you can do that. Some people say, well, social media is horrible. You know what's so funny? There are older people that do the exact same thing. They just do it with the news. They do it with the news. You know, there was a picture taken and it showed, because it's funny how the older generation doesn't recognize themselves in the new generation because they get stuck on the platform that the new generation is using. I really want you to connect to this because I promise you this will mess you up. There's a picture they showed from way back in the day before technology, really, and they showed a picture of the subway station. In the subway station, in the subway car, every man in the subway car was looking down. They were looking down at the newspaper. 100% of them. No one was talking to each other. All of them were looking down at the newspaper. And then they showed a picture below it of today. No one was talking and everyone was looking down at their phone. Your distraction is just the older distraction to today. Your distraction may not be social media. It may be the news. You watch the news for 30 minutes in the morning. Cut it out. There's nothing good on there anyway. So what I'm trying to say is, get out of the bed. That's my rule. 5 seconds or less. Get out of the bed right away and get into what you're going to get into. If you want to work out, lay your workout clothes right next to your bed the night before, so you're not planning it as you go. It's already planned. You just slip right into it. A big part of my discipline is reminding myself of my reason why and setting alerts. Exactly. The 5 second rule is great. Also, the 5 a.m. club is something that I recommend. So get out of bed and get into your routines that you already planned the day before. And then, whatever you're going to do, once you set these rules up for your life, those rules are to get you to where you want to go, and they become habits that are going to help you to get there. And realize this about where you want to get. I knew something. Again, I mentioned this before. I didn't want to do ACN. It's not because I didn't like ACN. It's because I was thinking about adding something on to a schedule that already had me exhausted. And I'm like, no, I don't want to add anything else on. No. But you know what pushed me? The desire to want to be home with my daughter. So I need you to understand one part of this. It's not all going to be exciting. You're going to have extremely boring parts. You're going to have extremely tedious parts. You're going to have parts that you really just don't like. But you got to ask yourself, are those parts more important than the reason? And you got to remind yourself, because it's not just discipline, it's consistent discipline that's necessary. Believe, and one last thing before I show you this video that can tie it all in. One last thing is, you don't have to be good enough right now, guys. You just have to believe that you can get good enough. See, one thing that I know about the human experience is that, people procrastinate because they look for perfection. Perfection does not exist. Perfection doesn't exist. God didn't create you to be perfect. He created you as unlimited potential. which means that you have the opportunity to do more every single day. Your goal isn't to be perfect or to be great right now. Your magic is in that you can start and you can become good enough. That is the magic in the human experience. And so all you need to do is take one step to start to be consistent. Okay. So with that, what I want to show you real quick, it's 5 minutes and then we out of here.
What's at the core of achieving the good life? The major key to the good life. The major key is not in learning how to set goals. It is not in learning how to better manage your time. It is not in mastering the attributes of leadership. Every day in 1,000 different ways, we are trying to improve ourselves by learning how to do things. We spend a lifetime gathering knowledge in classrooms, in textbooks, in experiences. Now, if knowledge is power, if knowledge is the forerunner to success, then why do we fall short of our objectives? Why, in spite of all our knowledge and in spite of our collective experiences, do we find ourselves aimlessly wandering, settling for a life of existence rather than a life of substance? While there may be many answers to this question, the fundamental answer is the absence of discipline. Applying all that we know. That's the key word, discipline. Self-discipline. We might add one more word here, consistent. Consistent self-discipline. Better than knowledge is applied knowledge. And once we've applied our knowledge, we must study the results of that process. Apply our knowledge, study the results. Refine our approach. Finally, by trying and observing and refining and trying again, our knowledge will inevitably produce worthy results, admirable results. And with the joy and results of our efforts, we continue to apply, to learn, to observe, to fuel our ambition with the positive reinforcement of continued progress. Pretty soon, we'll find that we're swept into a spiral of achievement, a vertical rise to success. But for this whole process to work for us, we must first master the art of discipline. Self-discipline. Consistent self-discipline. It takes consistent self-discipline to master the art of setting goals, to master the art of time management, to master the art of leadership, to master the art of parenting and relationships. If we don't make consistent self-discipline part of our daily lives, the results we seek will be sporadic and elusive. It takes a consistent effort to truly manage our valuable time, or we'll be consistently frustrated. It takes discipline to conquer the nagging voices in our minds, the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of poverty, the fear of a broken heart. It takes discipline to keep trying when that nagging voice within us brings up the possibility of failure. It takes discipline to admit our errors and recognize our limitations. The voice of the human ego speaks to all of us. Sometimes the voice of ego says that we should magnify our value beyond our results. It leads us to exaggerate, to not be totally honest. It takes discipline to be totally honest, both with ourselves and with others. Be certain of one thing. Every exaggeration of the truth, once detected by others, destroys our credibility and makes all that we say and do suspect. As soon as a business colleague figures out that we tend to exaggerate, guess what? They'll always think we exaggerate, and they'll never quite hold us in the same regard again. Never. It takes discipline to change a habit, because habits are formed a little bit each day, every day, every day. Once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable. They act like a nearly unbreakable instinct that only long-term disciplined activity can change. We must unweave every strand of the cable of habits slowly and methodically until the cable that once held us in bondage becomes nothing more than scattered strands of wire. It takes the consistent application of a new discipline, a more desirable one to overcome one which is less desirable. It takes discipline to plan. It takes discipline to execute our plan. It takes discipline to look with full objectivity at the results of our applied plan. And it takes discipline to change either our plan or our method of executing that plan if the results are poor. It takes discipline to be firm when the world throws opinions at our feet. It takes discipline to ponder the value of someone else's opinion when our pride and our arrogance leads us to believe that we are the only ones with the answers.
So can you guys, the reason why I'm so big on discipline and self-discipline is because that is the bridge, that is the thing that allows us to do it. You know, people are always looking for a shortcut. They're looking to be motivated. They're hoping that somebody's going to give them a major key, right? Well, that is the major key. The major key is self-discipline. And there's no shortcut, there's no hack to that. It's embracing the process, falling in love with the process. And I have a treat for you guys. I actually found that picture that I was talking about. So this is the picture. And if you check it out, it says, "Stop telling me technology is changing us." And it's exactly the same. And what's scary to me is that a lot of times the older generation, they don't see all the same habits in the new generation because they're too busy looking at the platform they're using because they don't understand the platform. We're the same, we're humanity. So whatever it is, whether you're older and you consume hours of news in form of magazines, papers, articles, and watching it on TV, or whether you're a millennial or younger and you consume through social media, it is exactly the same. It's distraction and it's keeping you from your purpose. And so you got to ask yourself, when you make those rules, what's important to me? How do I connect? How am I using the information that I'm consuming? Or am I just consuming it for entertainment? Am I on social media to be able to connect with people, to bridge and create relationships? I can tell you that Jekko, he's on here right now. He's out of Illinois, and he signed up people in Denmark. He signed up people in Australia. He signed up people in Canada. He signed up people in the United States because he understands that using social media is the ability to connect with friends and family members and relatives all around the world to be able to share an opportunity. And so social media isn't a bad thing. It's the way people use things. So you don't want to attack social media as a negative. You want to step back and have an awareness and an understanding of the connection that bridges all. The top production that we've been in 100% has been remote. And I want to say that because oftentimes I hear in person, and I think in person is incredible, but a lot of people that talk about in person, they also knock technology, which I find ironic. Yes, in person, I can transfer my energy faster. Yes, that is true. But I also know that remote allows me to be broad and expand to areas that I would never be able to connect in. And it's easier to scale. So there's so many good things about both, that you can use both when it fits, versus I like one more than I like the other. You know, people are that way with phones, right? Apple and Android. I could care less, to be honest. Whatever one allows me to connect to you easier is the one that I like. It doesn't matter. I'm not a fanboy. And so a lot of times we get stuck in, I'm in this camp or I'm in this camp. And I think people that think that way are missing the big picture. You're in the camp of connecting with people, however, wherever they are. And when you can get that part, then you're able to rise and see this thing bigger and generate a result for you and your family that's going to serve people where they're at, not people where you want them to be. So I hope you guys caught that. That's it for me. I'm done. I know we had a lot to do in the very beginning, and this was set at 30 minutes. So I think we're right at 30 minutes for the training, Mr. Thomas. So I want to pass it to you And I'm excited for those of you that were able to catch this. Go back and rewatch it. And I think you'll catch a few more things because there was a lot of information to share this morning.